Good morning. This week in our ninth wave series, we've been exploring the concept of love. And it's an exhaustible principle, concept, whatever you want to call it. It's actually an action. It's a verb, to love, more than a noun, love. And the title of today's aspect is No Greater Love. And that, of course, comes from the Bible. No greater love hath any man than that he lay down his life for his friends, speaking of Jesus. However, I'm going to focus this morning on the movie that we watched here at the Mary Horgan Center last night, called What Dreams May Come, starring Robin Williams. It was an Academy Award-winning film in 1998. Which was the same year that I started Metagroups. It was the same year that I began living in the garage apartment at Dr. Mary's place in Merritt Island. And it was the year, again, that Robin Williams' movie, What Dreams May Come, won the Academy Award. The movie is an interesting movie. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's about a family. Starts with a romance of a man meeting a woman. They end up having 2 children together. Both children get killed in a horrible accident. Then the man, trying to help someone else, gets killed in another horrible accident, leaving the wife alone. And she ends up committing suicide and going to hell. And for those that haven't seen the movie, I'm going to give it away because there's so many aspects of that movie that I want to look at this morning, time permitting. First of all, when Chris, the husband, died and went to heaven, one of the things that he was told early on is that there are no rules. Whatever you think about, whatever you imagine, that's what you experience. You create your own reality. And he was able, by thought, to go back into his wife's pictures, that she was an artist, and go back into the paintings. And it was a surrealistic movie. Very interesting beliefs came forth in the movie. One of the beliefs was revealed after the wife had committed suicide, and she went to hell because she did not finish her project, and there was no way out of hell. It was forever and ever. And in hell, you also created your own reality. But it was a very self-absorbed reality where you rehashed all of the things that you had done in life over and over and over again and were stuck in hell. But in both cases, you created your own reality, or you put more accurately, perhaps, what you experienced in your consciousness was whatever you focused on. Your experience had everything to do, not with what is real, but with whatever is in your mind. Because you created that reality for yourself. The experience of that reality was created by your thoughts. And I saw that clearly in the movie last night. I had watched it some time previously, many years ago, probably quite a few years ago. But it was one worth digging out and watching again. Chris loved Anne in the movie so much that when he found her in hell, that was what was on his mind. He found her in hell. And he went and he talked to her, and she was so self-absorbed she didn't even recognize him. At least not at first. He was told by his guides that the rules were nobody ever got out. It had never happened before that anybody ever got out of hell. Because there was one thing and one thing only that could get them out, and that's love. And they were so self-absorbed that they couldn't find the love. And they were grasping. There was much grasping going on in the movie. And if you watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. In any case, after Chris met with his wife in hell, he went back to his guide and say, "You're right. I could not change her. I could not make her see." And the guide, of course, thought that Chris was going to leave and go back to heaven. But Chris said, "No, you're right, but I'm going to stay here in hell with my wife, even if she never sees." That's the kind of love that God has for us all. He's going to stay with us in hell. And I know that's not a concept that fits into most belief systems. In a sense, God has no choice but to stay with us in hell, because even as the psalmist wrote in the Bible, "If I make my bed in hell, you are there," speaking of the divine, speaking of God. And in this ninth wave, we are being given an opportunity to get out of the cycle of death and rebirth, in a sense. But more importantly, to discover a greater depth of love that's willing to go to the extreme. In the Apostles' Creed, it says, "Christ descended into hell, leading captivity captive." These are archetypal myths that drive our lives. They're implanted within us. We have the no greater love in each of us. It's not just in some Christed figure or Buddhic figure or great prophet or great seer. It's in you, it's in me. And we have the opportunity in our day and age, in our generation, to descend into the very hell of our own soul, where we've been locked up for lifetimes, generation after generation, going back as far as we can think in terms of time. But of course, eternity is timeless. How long do we stay here? As long as we want. As long as we're stuck in the recirculating of our own ideas and unwilling to rise above our own concepts of what's right and what's wrong, what's truth and what's not true. We can keep on creating the same thing over and over and over again, or we can get it. We can choose to stay in hell until we get it. We can love enough ourself to begin to recognize that every person that we meet, every circumstance that we encounter is a part of us. We are not separate from any of it. Not any of it at all. Even in the hell of our own recycling thoughts, where we play roles and we think, I can't, because that's the rule. There are no rules, was the first thing Chris was told when he went to heaven. There are no rules. And then he says, but he was told, but that's the rule. Once you're in hell, you can't get out. It's forever. And he says, but you said there were no rules. Well, that's a rule, but it wasn't a rule. Chris brought his wife out of hell back to heaven in the movie. And that's what's happening in the ninth wave. We're bringing our own experience, our own soul experience out of hell back to heaven. That's the greatness of the love that's within you and within me. That we can redeem our own lives by the Christ that's within us. Not an external Jesus, not an external Buddha, not an external religious figure, not somebody or something outside of us, not even God outside of us, but God and Christ and Buddha in us redeems us. And it's a gift we can only give to ourselves, or otherwise we stay stuck forever in our own thoughts and creating the experience based on what we think is true. I'm telling you what is true. The eternal truth is that we are all love. I am, you are, everybody that you see, everybody that you can think of in your mind, regardless of what they've done. We're love. Even if that flame of love has almost died down to just an ember, we're still love. It's still there. It'll never be extinguished because it is the God in each of us. And you can't extinguish what is. And God is love. And love is in you. And it's in me. It's in everyone. I made the statement and then I backed up on the statement. If you don't love at all, you don't love at all. That's a true statement. It's also not a true statement. Ah, the paradox. That's why I'm the paradox man. What do you want to believe? What is the truth for you? That you can't? Okay. I agree with you. You can't. You're right. You believe you can? I agree with you. You're right. Because you can have it whatever way you want. And that's the no greater love that God has given each one of us. We can have it however we want. We can wake up whenever we choose. We can choose to love, or we can choose to be self-absorbed in everything that we've done wrong, and all of the things we could have done and didn't do. We can stay stuck there forever and ever and ever if that's our choice. I'm asking you this morning to choose love, to rescue your own soul from hell, because your beautiful soul is worth rescuing. Not somebody else. You. It's all you. It's all me. We are one. One family waking up in this ninth wave in the evolution of human consciousness. Namaste, and God bless you.